My name is Jennifer Duffey. My family's life was affected by violence on March 27th at the Covenant School when a mass shooting happened. At that time, we had a 6th grade boy at the school and also a 3rd grade daughter. They were both impacted, but very differently. My son was hidden away where the shooter did not know they were there, but he could definitely hear shooting where he was. Our daughter was in the 3rd grade. They were at ground zero. The shooter shot through the windows of their classrooms about 30 times. 3 of their friends were killed. I was working 2 minutes away from the Covenant School at a preschool, and then we realized it was actually my children's school. And my first inclination, we got to lock down our school. They won't let us on the road, so we're running on the side of the grass, trying to get there as fast as we can. I called my husband, so he took off. I got there late enough that they wouldn't let me in the fire station. By God's grace, Sutton popped up in the window of the fire station, and I saw that she was alive. There was a victim's family there. I won't forget being there with them. And my husband was able to clarify that the 5th and 6th grade were all accounted for, and the cries in the fire station of the 3rd graders wondering where their 3 friends were, I won't forget those sounds. It was the hardest day of our life. But I was so grateful to know that my children were safe. And my heart was breaking at the same time, knowing that some were not. We went to the reunification place. We luckily got our children back very quickly. They were afraid Sutton's eardrums had burst. And so we heard her recount a lot with doctor and police officers, and also the mental health professional from the police officers. Police officers were coming in the room with us crying, and then we were able to go. Lucky in that we didn't sit there for hours waiting and wondering, as a lot of people did. It has been a very difficult 2.5 years since that time. Both of my children already had therapists that they had been seeing. Initially, there was resistance to going to therapy of just how violent things that they had experienced, and talking about it was a very difficult thing to do. It was a lot of talk therapy initially. Eventually, our daughter did EMDR therapy. That therapist was really good at her job, but over time, just talking about it became harder, and there was some resistance to the EMDR therapy. We added in a psychiatrist, realized that some medicine could really help make a difference in how she coped. And then eventually we found a true trauma therapist in a practice that sees a lot of military people who've experienced PTSD and are truly trained in trauma therapy. Traditional talk therapy isn't necessarily the best way to go. Trauma has such an impact on your body. It lives in your body. Trauma therapists have a lot more training. A game changer when we found a therapist like that. I will say that there aren't a lot of trauma therapists for children for situations like this. I called and begged this place to take my daughter, even though they didn't take children of her age. And they made an exception because one of them had worked with kids, and that really made a difference. Our son continued to just talk to his normal therapist, but I also, working with the victims' advocates, has been helpful to me, having their support and reminding us from their experience that we are not having the wrong feelings of this taking a long time, and being reminded that a year is not a long time, 2 years is not a long time. This is a very long journey that we're on as we continue to heal. And both my husband and I already had therapists, and they have been instrumental. We are firm believers in receiving outside help and therapists that are really trained to help with what we're dealing with. One of the hardest things has been how our community fractured. You think that in an event like this, and for us it was within a Christian community, a small community, that you would find healing within. That did not happen for us. Our son graduated that year and already had plans to attend a new school. Our daughter, we knew that going back into the building would just create more traumatic memories and difficulties. And so we made a very difficult decision to move her to another school. That decision caused a lot of fracture within the community. We also, as a family, had tried to work to get focus groups so that the parents could have a say in how we move forward. That caused a lot of people to be angry. They wanted us to just trust the leadership of the school. We felt strongly that we needed outside objective help to come in and help us as a community to move forward. We lost friendships over it. The school was not very supportive. We felt like outcasts, whether that's what they meant to do or not. And in a Christian community that you've been in for so many years, that was a shocking thing to experience. Now, after maybe a year and a half, we were able to speak to some Sandy Hook people, and they explained how that was a really big problem for them as well. And we've been told that's a common thing. We've become very close to a smaller group of people, and most of them were people who really understood what trauma does. There's such a different experience in a violent act like this that everyone has. We all struggled with how to support our friends who lost their children while also feeling that joy of having our own. It was really difficult for a lot of people to know how even to love and support, because it's such a confusing situation to be in. A great gift that I've received is one of the victims' mothers and I, out of such devastation, have created a very sacred and deep relationship through this. And it requires being completely vulnerable and sitting in the really ugly together. And that has been a real gift. It's such a sacred gift that I've received. But through that, I have seen how difficult for victims' families it has been as the community moves forward. The school is trying to move forward, which everyone wants that and wants things to go back to normal, but they really never do go back to normal. For some of the victims, it has felt like the loss has been minimized. Everyone deals with trauma differently. Losing friendships, gaining friendships has been difficult to experience and to watch. Working with the Voices for Victims has really given an outlet for that, to be able to create something through the Heart House that everyone can come to when they're ready. And trying to find a place of common ground where you've removed the school from it, you've removed the church from it. There have been lots of stumbling blocks. Going to school for our daughter has been extraordinarily difficult. She's now in 6th grade, and she's gone to school for 15 days in a row, which has not happened since the shooting. And we are so grateful, but that has come with a lot of hard work. I think there's just not enough information out there about how do you live with this afterwards. There's so much focus on the actual event. And I don't want to be all doom and gloom. I mean, we have healed a lot in our family. Our children have healed a lot, but the scars are there. I am so grateful that the Voices for Victims just continue to press forward to get to us.